G'day, and welcome to a very special episode of Evention. This is our Series 1 finale, and after a lot of requests from you out there, we thought we'd do something different and give you guys a look into the behind-the-scenes making of Evention. So let's take a look around and we'll get started. This is our barn here in Cochranville, Pennsylvania, the feed room. It's not the fanciest barn in the world, but it's certainly very workable. The first rascal we have here, you'll recognize. This is a young horse, Tex, that I ride, and you may know him from the intro of Evention, and he's always getting himself into mischief. We have one of my working students' horse, Juice, here, a young horse that we have in training. This kind of shy guy in here is Cold Harbor, who's an upper level horse of mine. He's currently eating straw, who knows why. And Bellamy's made quite a few appearances on the show. This is my wife's 3-star horse. And then we meet the real boss of the place in there, Stephanie, who keeps everything running smoothly.
Hey guys.
That's her. Back to work. And then we have another horse here, Maddie. Oh, and this is a summer working student, Robbie, who's also helping keep everything going while we're busy trying to make Evention and do all the other things that we have to do. Obviously the indoor there. And this, I would say, is the epicenter of our barn, which is the tack room. And then another big boss, my wife, Jimmy. And this is basically where we do most of our work, but as well as plan Evention episodes. But before we go into that, let's head to a Schrammo shout out. Today's shout out goes to the Equine Land Conservation Resource based in Lexington, Kentucky. They help raise awareness about the loss of land used for equine related activities. Check them out here at the website below. We'll get back to the action. Welcome back, guys. So obviously the first step of any Evention episode is planning. We have to figure out what the episode's going to be about and what we're going to tackle. We're very busy people as we are competing and away a lot, teaching and all kinds of things. So I'd like to tell you that we have a really good, disciplined way of coming up with new topics, but a lot of times we're coming up with it the night before. So that's sort of the way we roll. Jimmy, do you have an idea for what we're going to do this week?
No, I don't, as usual.
Yeah, so that's pretty typical of how we start the first step of an Evention episode. Then what we look to is we go online, we take a look at the YouTube videos from previous weeks and Facebook messages from you guys giving us feedback on what you want to see. Now, obviously not every topic is going to be something that's going to be good to be turned into an Evention episode if it's not applicable to a broad range of people. So we try and pick things that are not too basic, not too difficult, that people really find day-to-day problems with, and that tends to be the most helpful. And then we get just a bare bones plan of what the episode's going to be called, the main challenges or topics that we want to cover, a couple of ways to deal with them, and a conclusion and a Schrammo shout out to a charity that we think is really worthy of getting some attention. And the Evention tip, just sort of something that comes off the top of our head as we're filming. For example, today I think I had an idea about maybe introducing a young horse to jumps, which means we're going to have to tack up a horse, head down to the outdoor and get started with the actual filming.
Okay, so after we hit the planning part of our episode, we normally come out here to the outdoor arena and we just start. We have a really simple setup, normally a horse and Dom or a horse and I and just one camera. If we get real creative, Matt will bring some other stuff in, but normally this is pretty much it. And as far as, what we say, it's actually not scripted. None of it is. We just go off the top of our heads, and we're really lucky. We have a really cool place. We have a lot of paddocks on either side to film in with a creek and a little ditch running through. So it's really cool. But once we get through with the episode, then Matt takes over, our director, and he does all the editing. So he's gonna take you and give you a more in-depth look.
Welcome to the studio, everyone. My name is Matt Rapius. I'm the producer, director, editor, and cameraman for Evention. And today we're going to take a look at some of our behind the scenes of what goes on in the post-production side of making Evention. And to start, we'll go look at the computer and what goes on to make an episode of Evention. And after the filming session, after our day of shooting, we'll come back here and take some of our footage, which can be minutes or hours long, and edit it and trim it down to a more manageable length. And to do that, we use Adobe products. This is Adobe Premiere, and this is Adobe After Effects. After Effects we use for our visual effects, some of our graphics, and any other trick things that we'd like to use for the show. Like this is our Schrammo shout-out template that we use to make for our overlays that we use every week. And between After Effects and Premiere, they can make for some pretty powerful visuals that help make Evention look the way it does. So moving on, we'll take a look at some of our tech that we use for the episode. And first up are our GoPro cameras. This is the GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition. And we use this for our action shots, the ones where we mount them on the horse, on helmet, or just put them in places that the big cameras can't go. And it gets some really amazing shots, and we really love having it. Next up are our two main cameras. What's recording right now is the Canon 5D Mark II, and that's our B camera. And what I have down here is our A camera, the 5D Mark III with a 70-200 lens on it. And recording all the audio today is the Zoom recorder, and this sits on top here, taking all of our audio samples. And on the back here, hooked up to it, is our wireless receiver. This one is our wireless transmitter, and this is what we use to get all the sound for most of our episodes. And you've noticed in some of the episodes where Dom and Jimmy are often talking 30, 40, 50 feet away from the camera or doing a demonstration, and you're able to get a nice clean audio, and this is how we do it. Before we end our episode, let's go back to Dom for a very special message about the end of the season, as well as what to expect in season 2.
All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed that little insight into the goings-on of making an Evention episode. And that wraps up our first season. Last September, Jimmy and I and our team put a little video on how to trim a horse up on the internet with zero expectations. Since then, Evention has become a huge success. We nearly got 15,000 subscribers, over 500,000 views, and every week, people across the globe in nearly 200 countries look to Evention for tips on how to help their horse and their riding. But it wouldn't be that success without your guys' support. And we just want to say thank you for letting us help you and for tuning in every week. Give us a couple of weeks off as we're going to put some work into our Series 2 coming in about mid-September. And it's going to be bigger and better than ever. And we hope that you're going to be very, very surprised. All right, guys, until next time,